Hey everyone! Welcome back to another episode of Radio Pulso, also known as the Boyle Heights Beat podcast. My name is Jennifer Lopez, and this is my first time hosting a podcast, so I'm a bit nervous but excited at the same time. I'm a Boyle Heights native and a Boyle Heights Beat alumni. I was in the program during high school from 2014 through 2016 before heading to UC Riverside. After graduating, I came back to Boyle Heights Beat, where I now help out behind the scenes and explore different forms of journalism. Since it is Women's History Month, let's take a moment to recognize the powerful, intelligent, and resourceful women in our lives. We should be celebrating them each and every day, not just this month. There are so many amazing women who have done such great things for the community of Boyle Heights, many of which were highlighted this March on our website. If you want to hear even more stories about powerful women in the community, make sure to check us out at boyleheightsbeat.com. I got the chance to speak to Marta Ambriz, who is the director of Ballet Folklórico Resurrección and an advocate for youth. Marta was born and raised in Boyle Heights and has fond memories of growing up on Grande Vista Street, including an unexpected short visit by the Night Stalker in the mid-1980s. She talks about her attachment to the neighborhood and what drives her to make Boyle Heights a better place for its residents. How long have you lived in Boyle Heights?
So my whole life, I was actually, like I said, born on Grande Vista Street in the corner house, then moved when I was about 2 to the middle of the street, and then in 2004, we purchased a house here on Grande Vista.
Oh, okay, nice. Where's your family from?
Originally from Guanajuato, Mexico.
Oh, okay. Have you been?
Yes, we actually own a home over there too.
Oh, okay. Are there aspects of Boyle Heights that remind you of Guanajuato?
The Mariachi Plaza, maybe, just because it's, very traditionally made.
Yeah.
The food, of course, taco stands. Other than that, I think Guanajuato's very Spanish looking.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look like your typical Mexican city.
Ah, okay.
It's beautiful, but it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I've seen pictures. It looks so beautiful. Yeah. I know you're president of BFR, Ballet Folklórico Resurrección. How long have you been involved with BFR?
So for BFR, I've been involved for about maybe 18 years now. But I took the group over on behalf of the church about approximately 12 years ago.
Mm-hmm. And how did that come about?
My daughter was dancing.
Mm-hmm.
She started when she was 7. And then they needed somebody to take over the group, to coordinate it. So I became president and just learning aspects from the previous teachers.
Mm-hmm.
I learned how to run the program. And I've been doing something different than what they were doing. I based it more on helping the community and keeping the kids off the streets and dancing.
Okay. Can you talk a little bit about who BFR is and what their role in the community is?
Sure. So BFR stands for Ballet Folklórico Resurrección. We're based out of Resurrection Church. It was established in 1961. It wasn't originally a folklorico group, or a Mexican folklorico group, I should say. It was established as a Latin jazz group. Which I don't know too much about because a lot of documentation has been lost. But obviously that was in 1961. But as the Mexican community started growing more and more in the Boyle Heights community, somewhere in time it became a folklorico group. So I do know a lot of pioneers that started the group. They don't know too many details, but I've tried to get as much as I can. I know they actually were... BFR actually opened up It's a Small World for Disneyland. We're one of the oldest groups, or if not the oldest group in all of California. And we basically focus on teaching the kids, first of all, keeping the kids off the streets and dancing, because obviously this community sometimes can be bad for the kids to be in the street. But most importantly, we teach them their Mexican heritage. So we are the official group for the Archdiocese of Los Angeles. So we do a lot of dancing to feature our Mexican roots to the Catholic community. So that's basically in terms of what we do.
Yeah. Okay. Who are the members of BFR and where do they come from?
So members are recruited here locally from BFR, but we also have dancers that come from other cities nearby. But we do target community kids. We try to keep it as the cost as low as possible because, as you can imagine, being in a folklorico group, as you yourself dance, can be expensive.
Yeah.
However, we do try to fundraise. There is a couple of students that are on there with a scholarship that don't pay like I said, just so that they're involved and they're off the streets. So basically that's where we recruit local kids. A lot of church members from Resurrection Church have their children involved. Since I work with Resurrection School, there's also a lot of students from Resurrection School that are involved, but it's open to everyone. It doesn't matter your age, your religion, or where you live. It's open to anyone.
How do you and your organization represent Boyle Heights?
I think we carry a big flag for our church, not only because we represent the traditions of Mexico through dance, but we're also a staple in the community in regards to politics. Monsignor John Moreta, as you may know, is very politically involved in everything that happens in Boyle Heights. So we're basically his backup. Not only do we perform when there's protest or when there's anything going on in the community, but our parents and our students are also involved when it comes to community action, including the Exide fight, including power plants that have been trying to open, including when they were trying to open a jail nearby. Our parents, our children are very involved.
And I noticed that last year you got recognition as Boyle Heights Woman of the Month. Can you talk to me a little bit more about that?
Yes, thanks to Tony Juarez, who runs the farmers market over in Mariachi Plaza. I was recognized as one of the women because I do a lot of community work. I work, like I said, at Resurrection School as an after-school coordinator, helping students do their homework, catching up on any type of homework that they may be backed up in, or just teaching them how to read. So I do that, but I also work with the community kids through dance. And then I'm also involved in an organization where we feed the homeless every Tuesday, and I help fundraise for that organization. So Tony recognized me as one of the women. Well, Tony nominated me, and I was recognized by the council member, Maria Elena Solis as well, and Miguel Santiago.
Okay. What does Boyle Heights mean to you?
Home. It basically means home. I think I dream about a better Boyle Heights for our kids. It would have been easy for me to purchase a home in another city. But when we decided to purchase this home, we decided if we were going to do it, we were going to send our children, when we eventually had children, to Catholic school because of the area not being so safe, which we eventually did, but they also attended public school. But I think it means home to me just because there's so many sentiments. Since, like I said, I was born in the same block, in the same city, so I've never moved away. But I really dream about having a community where it's safe for our kids more than anything. And even though with all these obstacles, you still can, walk the streets. I just try to make it safer, and a cleaner place is what I really wish for our community.
Yeah. Okay, that wasn't my last question, but do you have any core memories of you growing up in Boyle Heights?
I have a lot. One of the biggest ones is I remember when what is his name? He was a recruiter for the Dodgers. So I was actually about, I want to say 8 or 9 years old when Fernando Valenzuela was practicing at Garcia Park, and my dad would take us over because we knew he was going to be somebody big at the Dodgers. So I think that's one of the memories I have. I have about 3 memories. That's one of the main memories I have. Another memory I have is actually behind the Food for Less. I was a 6th grader when Michael Jackson recorded Thriller. So my mom followed us, or she let us go, because she took us to go see the recordings. So I think that was something amazing.
Yeah.
Those are 2 awesome memories. I think the one of the most intrigued memories I have was actually that Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker, when he was around, it was just so much fear in us. And he actually was in our property here next door, and he left the juice and the newspaper there. So then we had cops all over the place. And, being a kid, it was just it was scary, but at the same time, it was so interesting, to see, the police officers do their job. But at the same time, it was it was in the middle of the summer, so we had our windows shut. You couldn't even sleep with your windows open.
Yeah. Well, that is, I can imagine.
Yeah.
What would you want people to take away from Boyle Heights? What would you want people that are not from here to take away from the community?
I think the biggest thing I would want them to take away is that it's a growing migrant city. we're a stepping stone, I think, for a lot of migrants that come, and we help. And I want them to always think of that this is the first place they stopped, where they got help. And if they eventually did something and moved up to I don't want to say better city, but to a city where, there's less crime or anything like that, to remember to always come back and help. Because I think it's a great community. I think there's help here that you can't get in other communities. And it's still one of those cities with, it's a small city within a huge city where people still get to know each other, still know who we are. We're still very involved, and we're, at the end of the day, even though there's a lot of crime, we are the type of people that you can knock on your neighbor's door and expect help, because that's just who we are.
Yeah. Okay. Those are all the questions that I have, but I don't know if there's anything else that you might want to add, or...
No, I think you asked me all the basic questions. I think the only thing maybe I would add is that I would encourage for parents to be more involved with their children, when there becomes in extracurricular activities, because it's proven kids that play sports, that dance, it's proven that they go on to college, they have brighter futures. I would encourage parents to do that. I've been very involved with my kids' schools and my kids, extracurricular activity. 2 of them dance, 1 of them plays sports. And thanks be to God, I have a nurse, a future teacher, and then I have my son who's going to the Navy next month. So in 2 months.
Yeah.
So,
that's exciting.
Yeah. So like I said, if you're involved and you care about your children, they will eventually, pay you back in a good way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I had such a wonderful time talking to Marta and learning about her upbringing in Boyle Heights. It was so heartwarming to hear that she raised her kids in the same neighborhood she grew up in. Not only that, but she's giving back to her community by trying to keep youth off the streets and more in touch with their roots through dance. You can follow her Folklórico page on Instagram at BFResu. That's at BFRESU for more info and upcoming events. And well, that's a wrap for our Radio Pulso podcast. Thank you so much for listening. You'll hear from us soon. Don't forget to tune in. Until then, suerte Boyle Heights. Nos vemos en la calle.